Hello everyone, welcome to Game 4 in this matchup between BratOk and HasuObs here on Desert Oasis. We have HasuObs spawning as the red Protoss player on the south side of Desert Oasis. Meanwhile, we have BratOk spawning as the yellow Terran player over here on the north side. Now, Desert Oasis is one of those 1v1 maps that plays out to be very large due to how the terrain is mapped out. Even with Reapers, it takes some time, or any cliff jumper, it takes some time to walk around this map. So we may see a little bit of a long 1v1 map, and at least definitely longer than Steps of War. Steps of War generally plays towards more of an aggressive style, while Desert Oasis, you can try to put down a natural expansion. Your natural expansion is a little bit exposed, but you really don't have to worry all too much about that natural expansion because you have a high ground so close to it and able to reinforce it fairly well. Out comes a probe, so HasuObs now moving out with this probe in order to get some scouting down. Does in fact chrono boost his nexus, so the gateway will be a little bit delayed. The gateway should be we should have a 12 barracks here, so just by waiting for it you should be able to reveal it. The probe now moving out, gonna go ahead and head off to the north base to try to figure out what exactly BratOk's strategy is. Barracks now being placed down. Refinery should be coming up shortly, as well as HasuObs is continuing to chrono boost his nexus in order to speed up the production of those probes. We're gonna have a probe come in from HasuObs, so HasuObs comes in, gonna do a little bit of quick scouting, figure out what the strategy is going to be, and then pull back out of there. So already has that probe now moving out. The refinery is now finally being put up, so HasuObs knows that there is not going to be any Reaper harassment immediately. Probes now being trained up still. We should probably see a cybernetics core, another additional probe, and then a pylon. That seems to be HasuObs' MO in terms of his build orders. Single probe still running around. No Marine being trained up. That's normally the first thing that's trained out of BratOk's barracks, and there it is, a Marine being trained out of BratOk's barracks in order to fight back against this single probe. Cybernetics core now finally down for HasuObs. HasuObs getting the Cybernetics core for that Stalker, wants to make sure that no Reaper harassment is going to be anywhere in sight, which is a pretty safe call, as we should see a Tech Lab now being placed down. Yeah, Tech Lab now being placed down as that Marine trying to chase down that poor probe. Probe able to escape out. No, now coming back in, a little curious on what exactly his MO is on this particular fight. Marine now gonna go ahead and try to take down this assimilator. Reaper should be trained up momentarily as well. And now that probe once again pulling back out. SCV was able to get a fair amount of sight into the base of HasuObs. Double assimilators within the base, so it may be a little bit more of a gas-heavy strategy, perhaps Stalkers and Sentries as well. Now a Marauder being trained up. Marauder trained up in order to be able to take down this assimilator. Probe now coming in, getting a couple of quick zaps onto that Tech Lab. Back over here, SCV still doing plenty of scouting, wants to figure out what exactly the strategy is of HasuObs. Marine now still firing down at that one single assimilator. Marine or Marauder was able to get that probe kill earlier, that earlier scouting probe, as that Marauder now just shooting those Punisher grenades from his hands in order to take down that assimilator. The assimilator already, halfway of its shields are already gone, as an SCV to this north-hand side is just simply waiting there. Stargate and Pylon currently being placed down, so Stargate and Pylon opening up more for a 2-gate. We'll see if it's 2-gate into Stargate, 2-gate into Robo, or 2-gate into a 4-gate build, as that seems to be the common strategies for a Protoss player. Single Stalker now activating this Xel'Naga Watchtower. Xel'Naga Watchtowers, for those of you guys who do not know, add or give significant amount of sight across the whole or across a very large area of the map. So if you see this circle here, that is the additional sight given to the Stalker of HasuObs. Army-wise, we are now sitting on a 300 mineral army versus HasuObs' 250. Both players sitting on a very tight economic game right now, or food game. 32/43. It was 32/35 momentarily, while HasuObs is sitting at 31/34. So wanting to make sure that Wow, didn't even know what... Okay, I'm going to start word salading in a second, so I'm going to try to focus down, buckle down. This is a lot of last replay, and now in comes a Reaper. Reaper now able to focus down a lot of the... or trying to get as many probe kills as he can. Able to get 2 probe kills, now pulling away with that Reaper. That Reaper feels like it's moving so slowly, and now getting taken down, so that Reaper really not that effective of harassment. And I almost need to check if this is... Oh, it's only on fast. No wonder this game feels so slow to me. Alright, there we go. So now that the units are moving more quickly, perhaps I will be more energetic and more entertained. So, yeah, that game was really slow. 5 minutes into the game and I didn't even realize that it was on fast instead of faster. My apologies, I usually try to set up everything in these videos beforehand, but can't be perfect. Back over here, sitting on a 600 versus a 750 mineral army. Both players, it looked as though BratOk wanted to try to lay down and try to grab positioning and try to hold this natural expansion here. Does not look like that's really going to work. We also have a pylon being pushed in here. So with the single observer, these stalkers may be able to shoot onto this high ground and dish out that damage, perhaps try to deny gas to BratOk. Marauders, however, will be able to come in and start fighting down here as well. For some reason, Stalkers being built onto this low ground, that's a little bit of a curious position on why you would ever want to do that. Stalkers now, once again, doing a little bit of a fight. What Stalker pulling back. These Stalkers do not have that blink research, but it is currently being researched. So those Stalker may be able to... Oh, Stalker's now coming in from the back, gonna start dishing out that damage, perhaps taking down some of these SCVs. SCVs taking 2 rounds of attack before getting taken down, and now Marines trying to come in on that engagement. Very, very nicely done, trying to split up these Stalkers. So Marines and Marauders just constantly being split between these 2 locations, and now Stalkers may be able to just simply run in. Now trying to take down the tech lab that was researching that concussive shell. Absolutely important. There it goes, down it goes, and Stalkers now with that blink have very, very fast movement, so we'll be able to start shooting down some of these SCVs and able to take down another SCV. So HasuObs doing a great job of just keeping up this pressure on the BratOk's base. An additional attacking on this refinery, and now SCVs, or now Stalkers being lost over there on the right side. So these Marauders and Marines just constantly being split between 2 locations. And still, a nice an EMP round was shot, but that EMP round didn't really shoot anything. I think it may have reserved perhaps an observer. Taking a look at HasuObs' base, yeah, it did reveal an observer momentarily. So did not want to use the energy, I guess, from that orbital command. Now we have the observer moving overhead. Perhaps we can try to supply lock some of these units. In comes a single Stalker, and that one single Stalker low on hit points getting pulled away, and now blinking back once again. So more Stalkers over here, does not have sight onto that high ground. So nice quick scanner sweep, taking down that observer. So that observer was shot down. Army-wise, we have a 975 for HasuObs. BratOk sitting on 1900. HasuObs is also getting his natural expansion up and running, and also walking some Stalkers over. Not quite sure why he's walking these Stalkers over, as BratOk now moving out with these medevacs in order to do a little bit of a drop, and that is going to be absolutely devastating. There are no units in the base of HasuObs, and now out come these Marauders and these Marines. No stim pack, no combat shield. Oh no, there is the combat shield, but no concussive shells. But still, now these probes now need to be moved on out. We see Dark Templars now being warped in, so the Dark Templar is able to get in a couple of swipes in there. Should probably get some chrono boost onto these warp gates in order to be able to warp in some additional units. Dark Templars getting a couple of swipes, and that final Marauder getting killed there. However, the damage has been done. The main Nexus has been shot down, and these Stalkers still continuing to put pressure onto the main base, however. So the main base constantly getting pressure and harassed by HasuObs. So HasuObs perhaps wants to try to push in once again. Single observer in the air, perhaps trying to shoot down the rest of that Marine Marauder army. And will they be able to start focusing down that supply depot? Yeah, one supply depot already very low on hit points. Marines trying to come in, that single supply depot now low, and now Stalkers will be able to take down that last Vespine Geyser. So now BratOk really hurting, just constantly fighting a war on all sides. Stay tuned for part 2 of this replay between BratOk and HasuObs here on Desert Oasis.